Let's talk about load management. Now is as good a time as any, especially since we are now 1 month into the season. It's almost October, so it's been 4 weeks that we've been playing here. So at the very latest at this point, it's important to start differentiating between your external load and your internal load in order to keep players happy, healthy, training, and competing on the best terms. Quick review, external load is what's easy to see. It's what we program every day. It's the sets and reps. It's the total distance that we've run. It's our total volume lifted throughout the day. It's the total load, so your weight, how many kilograms you've lifted today or how many pounds. It's the minutes you played, if you played 90, if you played 60, if you played 120. Ask any player who's gone into overtime, it makes a huge difference. Your top speed run in training or competition and how close that is to your actual maximal speed, and the number of sprints you've done. And again, ask any athlete who's run a 10-meter sprint and a 30-meter sprint and a 100-meter sprint, the distance really does make a difference, and the number of reps, of course, make a difference as well. But that's external. This stuff is easy to see, and sometimes we plan only with this. What's critically important is that we also plan with the internal load in mind. However, this is something that requires the participation of our players. Because yes, we have a couple of data points that we can take without asking our players, but there's still physiological or internal data points. And it's especially going to be helpful to talk with our players. Athlete feedback is not replaceable in this case. One way we can do this is with perceived exertion. So whether of a set or of a session, you say, hey, on a scale of 1 to 10 or 1 to 20, 1 to 25, whatever you want to use, how difficult was this? And then we have an idea of how that athlete finds those sets and reps, because it might be the same, the sets and reps that I program for an athlete, but what's happening on the inside is never the same between two athletes. The chemical reactions will always be different. The physiological adaptations and the speed at which those occur will always be different between athletes. If I have a team of 22 athletes, I'm gonna have 22 different setups. I'm gonna have 22 different internal load data sets, even if they all had the same external load for the whole week, because how everyone adapts is different and the speed at which they adapt is different. So perceived exertion after sets and after sessions, I like using those. Wellness questionnaires, where you've got 3 to 5 data points that you're tracking multiple times a week, at best case scenario every day, in worst case once a week. Also 0 to 10 or 1 to 5, however you'd like to use a scale. How's your sleep? How's your mood? How's your stress? Your motivation, and your soreness and pain, keeping in mind that soreness and pain are 2 totally different things. We often have athletes who have done the same workout again, and then one will have a little bit of muscle pain and the other one will be sore for 3 days. That's a completely different internal reaction to the external load, and it's critical that we know that. Other internal variables include your heart rate variability, your pulse, how many breaths per minute you take. It could go on and on and on. Again, this is always gonna be individual, and this is why this is the most interesting, but the internal should always impact the external, because the external certainly impacts the internal. So they should be impacting each other, and this should shape how we adjust this to move our athletes forward. Again, if all 22 of my guys are getting the same workout, I'm doing something wrong, because they're all having different adaptations to it, and they're gonna all have different needs. That's your little recap of load management. Have a good one.